You walk into a room, and nothing is wrong. The walls are normal, the air is normal, the light is normal. But your body disagrees. Your chest tightens, your shoulders rise, your stomach drops, and you can't explain why. You don't think danger, you think something stranger. This place feels wrong. Not scary like a movie, wrong like your brain is reading a message you can't see. And then the thought arrives, almost by itself. Is this place haunted? Tonight, we're not going to mock that feeling, because that feeling is real. The question is, what is it? Here is the promise. By the end of this episode, you'll never say, it's just in your head. Because the truth is worse, and better. It's in your head, and in your body, and in the way your brain predicts reality. This isn't about ghosts. This is about the system that kept humans alive for thousands of years. A system that can misread a room, the same way it can misread a shadow, or misread silence, or misread a stranger's face. And when it misreads, it doesn't say, I'm not sure. It says, leave. So let's start with the most important idea. Your brain does not passively observe the world. It guesses the world. Every second, your brain is running one question. What is about to happen? Not what is happening. What is about to happen? Because prediction is survival. If you predict 1 second early, you live. If you predict 1 second late, you don't. So your brain is constantly building a future, and then checking if the room matches it. And when something doesn't match, you feel it as unease, as wrongness, as something is off. Now, this is where it gets premium, because your brain doesn't just check the room with your eyes. It checks the room with your nervous system. Your nervous system is like a silent security guard. It measures safety using patterns. Tiny patterns, not obvious things. Subtle mismatches. And the strangest part, you can feel the mismatch before you can name it. That is why it feels supernatural, because the feeling arrives without an explanation. So in part 1, we'll build the foundation. What creates the wrong place feeling? In a normal brain, in a normal person, on a normal day. And we'll do it without jargon, just clean mechanisms. Let's begin with the oldest alarm in your body, the one you never notice until it changes. Your breathing. When you enter a place that feels wrong, your breathing often changes first. Not because you choose it, because the body starts preparing. For movement, for escape, for freezing. And once breathing changes, everything changes. Your heart shifts, your attention narrows, your hearing becomes sharper, your skin becomes more sensitive. And here's the loop most people don't know exists. When the body changes, the brain starts hunting for a reason. If your body is acting like danger is present, the brain assumes danger is present, even if your eyes can't find it. This is not weakness. This is how humans survive in the dark. But it has a side effect. If the room is simply unfamiliar, if the layout is confusing, if the echoes are strange, if the light is uneven, if you can't map the space quickly, your body can still switch into that mode. And then your brain will attach a story. Not because the story is true, because the brain hates a blank. Now think about what haunted really means. It's not a specific belief. It's a label for a specific emotion. The emotion of, I am not in control of what's coming next. That emotion is the core, and the brain will use any story to explain it. Ghost, bad energy, a presence, a curse. Different cultures, same feeling. So the next question is, what creates the original feeling of, I can't predict this place? Here is the first surprising trigger. Your brain needs to build a quick mental map of a room, a fast where can I go map, an exits and corners map, a who can approach me map. If the map builds cleanly, your body relaxes. If the map builds poorly, your body stays tight. Now imagine a place that blocks mapping, a hallway that bends, a room with too many corners, a space where you can't see behind objects, a room where the door is behind you, a basement where the ceiling is low and the edges disappear. That's not spooky. That's your brain failing to build a clear map. So your body stays on alert. And when you stay on alert, your attention starts doing something dangerous. It starts searching for threats. And a threat-searching brain finds threats. Not because they're there, but because your brain becomes better at detecting patterns, even false patterns. This is why people say, I kept seeing movement in the corner. I felt like someone was behind me. I felt like the room was watching. Your threat system doesn't need evidence. It needs possibility. Now, here's a moment that will change how you think about haunted. Your brain can create a presence without a ghost, without a sound, without a shadow. Just from one thing: uncertainty. Because the feeling of presence is your brain saying, something in this space has agency. Something could move, could act, could harm. And agency is the scariest category. A falling rock is not agency. A predator is. So when your brain can't predict the space, it upgrades the risk category from object to agent. That upgrade is everything. Because once a place feels like it contains an agent, even silence becomes suspicious. Even stillness becomes loud. Now let's go deeper. Why do some places feel wrong, even when you've been there before? Why does it happen on some days and not others? Why do two people enter the same room and only one feels it? Here's the answer. The room is not the only thing being measured. You are being measured too. Your brain carries an internal weather report. Your sleep, your stress, your hormones, your recent experiences. And when the internal weather is tense, the brain lowers the threshold, meaning smaller mismatches trigger bigger alarms. So a place can feel fine one day and wrong the next, because you are not the same nervous system. This is the part people never connect. They think the place changed, but the place didn't change. The sensitivity changed. Now, here's where we avoid the basic explanations. Because yes, light and sound can matter. But the premium mechanism is this. Your brain is always deciding, is this place socially safe? Not just physically safe. Social danger is invisible. It leaves no footprints, but your body reacts to it faster than your mind. A room can feel wrong because it reminds your brain of a moment, not a clear memory, a pattern, a tone, a posture, a kind of silence you once experienced before something went bad. And you might not remember the original moment, but your body remembers the pattern. That is why people say, I don't know why, but I need to leave. Your brain is using old data to predict a future, and it's doing it quietly, under the surface. Now, I want to make this very concrete. Imagine you walk into a place and you sense you are being evaluated, not attacked, not threatened, evaluated. That single feeling can trigger the same body alarm as physical danger, because evaluation can mean rejection, humiliation, loss of status, loss of belonging. And for the human brain, belonging is survival. So your body tightens, your breathing changes, your attention narrows, and suddenly the room feels wrong. Not haunted, but socially unsafe. And because socially unsafe is hard to explain, because it sounds too vulnerable, too personal, the mind prefers a cleaner story. This place has bad energy. This place is haunted. Now we have the foundation: prediction, mapping, internal sensitivity, and social threat. But we still haven't touched the strangest part: The moment when the brain starts generating tiny experiences that feel like evidence. A soft pressure, a whisper that isn't a whisper, a shadow that isn't a shadow. In part 2, we're going to open that door. We'll explain how the brain can create almost perceptions, why corners matter, why doorways matter, why mirrors matter, and why your brain turns uncertainty into a presence. And then, in part 3, we'll do the most important thing. We'll give you a simple way to test the feeling, not to debunk it, but to take control back, so you can walk into a place, feel the wrongness, and instead of spiraling, you can say, I know what this is, and I know what to do. Part 2 is where it gets disturbingly accurate. Before part 2 begins, I want you to remember what we built. That haunted feeling is rarely a single cause. It's a chain, a prediction mismatch, a body alarm, and then a story. Now we go one layer deeper, because this is where people start whispering. This is where the brain stops feeling like a detector and starts feeling like a projector. In this part, we're going to explain something most people don't believe until it happens to them. Your brain can generate almost perceptions, not full hallucinations, not fake movie scenes, just tiny, convincing fragments, enough to make you say, okay, something is here. And the reason it feels so persuasive is simple. The brain doesn't need to show you a ghost. It only needs to increase uncertainty, and then let your threat system finish the picture. So let's talk about the most dangerous word in this whole topic. Presence. People say, I didn't see anything, but I felt a presence. That sentence is not poetic. It's mechanical. Because presence is a specific brain function. It's what your nervous system outputs when it detects agency. Not an object, an agent. Something that could choose, could move, could act. And your brain is obsessed with agents, because agents can hurt you. Agents can judge you. Agents can follow you. So if your brain is uncertain, it becomes biased toward agency. It would rather be wrong and safe than right and dead. Now here's the first premium point. Why do corners matter? Why do doorways matter? Why do hallways feel worse than open spaces? Because your brain hates blind zones. Places you can't fully monitor. Places that hide approach. A corner is a blind zone. A doorway is a blind zone. A hallway is a long, narrow prediction tunnel. In those spaces, your brain has to run more simulations. What if someone steps out? What if something moves? What if I can't see it in time? And when the brain runs more simulations, your body feels it as tension. Not because anything is there, because your brain is spending energy preparing for it. Now, here's something strange. When your brain expects threat, it changes how it processes sound. It becomes hypersensitive, not louder, sharper, more suspicious. So tiny sounds you would ignore in daylight become meaningful at night. A pipe settling, a distant car, a small click, a soft fabric shift. And because the sound is incomplete, your brain fills it with the most survival-relevant meaning. Footsteps, whispering, movement. Now notice the pattern. It's always the same. Ambiguity first, meaning second. The brain does not start with ghost. The brain starts with, I can't predict. And then it climbs toward the most dramatic explanation. Now, what about the feeling of being watched? That one is huge, because it's one of the most common haunted sensations. Here is the uncomfortable truth. The feeling of being watched is not always visual. It can be social. Your brain has a system that models other minds. It constantly estimates, who is paying attention to me? What do they think of me? What might they do? Normally it runs quietly in the background, but in uncertainty, it turns up. So in a place that feels wrong, your brain starts simulating a watcher, not because it sees one, because it needs to explain why you feel exposed. And once a watcher is simulated, your body responds as if the watcher is real. Heart rate shifts, shoulders rise, breathing becomes shallow. Then your brain says, "See, I told you, something is here." That loop is deadly, because the body becomes evidence. Now, here's a detail that separates premium science from basic advice. Why do some places feel wrong even when they are objectively safe, clean, modern, bright? Because wrong is not always danger. Sometimes wrong is mismatch. Your brain expects a certain pattern, and the pattern breaks. For example, a room that looks like a home, but doesn't behave like one. The furniture is placed like a set, not like a lived space. The objects have no human story. Everything feels staged. That can create a subtle mismatch, a feeling of, this place is pretending. And pretending triggers suspicion, because deception is social danger. Now, let's go even deeper. Mirrors. Why do mirrors amplify the haunted feeling, even when nothing is happening? Because a mirror is a prediction trap. Your brain expects a stable self, a stable face, a stable expression. But in low light, with tired eyes, with high arousal, small distortions happen. Not supernatural distortions, normal visual instability. And the brain hates unstable faces. Faces are the most meaningful pattern on Earth. So when a face becomes ambiguous, your brain reacts as if something is wrong. This is why people say, "I looked in the mirror and something felt off." It's not the mirror. It's the brain's face detector under stress. Now, there's another amplifier most people never connect. Time. Not clock time, time perception. In places that feel wrong, your sense of time can change. Seconds stretch. Silence feels longer than it is. Distance feels different. Because attention narrows. And when attention narrows, time changes. Now here's the premium twist. When time feels strange, the brain labels the entire environment as strange. It's a global tag, not a local detail. So one small mismatch can paint the whole room wrong. Now we're ready for the most unsettling piece. The almost touch, the small pressure, the sensation that someone brushed past you. This is where people swear, "No, I felt it." And yes, it can be real, not a lie, not imagination in the childish sense, real sensation from a real nervous system. Because your skin is not just a surface, it's a prediction system too. Your brain constantly predicts contact, so it can react fast. When your nervous system is on high alert, that prediction system becomes jumpy. It can generate false positives. A tiny air shift becomes touch. A muscle twitch becomes something moved. A fabric fold becomes pressure. And the moment you feel it, your brain doesn't ask, "Was this accurate?" Your brain asks, "What did it mean?" Then the story locks in. Now I want you to notice what we did. We didn't use cheap explanations. We used a chain of systems, blind zones, agency detection, social watcher simulation, face ambiguity, time distortion, and touch prediction. Together, they create a whole atmosphere. A room can feel haunted without a single ghost, because the brain can turn uncertainty into meaning, and meaning into sensation. So what do we do with this? How do we walk into a place, feel wrongness, and not spiral? In part 3, I'm going to give you a control method, not a debunk, a method, a way to test what system is firing in real time. Because once you can name the system, you reduce the fear. and you stop feeding the loop. And then something surprising happens. The room often changes, not because the room changed, because your brain stopped painting it. Part 3 is where you take your nervous system back. Now we do the part that matters most. Because understanding is interesting, but control is relief. If a place feels wrong, you don't want a lecture. You want a handle, something you can do while your body is already reacting. So I'm going to give you a method you can run in under a minute. And it does two things. It keeps you scientific, and it keeps you calm. But first, one twist, because this twist is why the feeling can be so convincing. Imagine two people walk into the same room, same light, same walls, same silence. Person A says, "Seems normal." Person B freezes. Eyes scan the corners, breath tightens, and they whisper, "Something is off." Now here is the uncomfortable truth. The difference isn't the room. The difference is the threshold. One nervous system is running green. The other is already running yellow. And when you are running yellow, your brain does something that feels like a ghost story. It fires the alarm first, and only then it goes looking for a reason. So the feeling arrives before the explanation. And that timing is what makes it feel supernatural, because it feels like the room spoke to you. But it wasn't the room. It was your prediction system. Now, with that twist in mind, here is the protocol. 3 steps: channel, loop, prediction. Step 1. Isolate the channel. Because wrong is not one thing, it's a bundle, and one channel is usually leading. Ask one quiet question. What is leading the alarm right now? Space, social, or body? Space means the layout feels unreadable. Too many corners, blind zones, the door behind you. You can't build a clean map. Social means you feel watched, evaluated, exposed, even if you're alone. Not an object, a mind. Body means your internal weather is loud, breath is tight, heart is fast, stomach drops, skin prickles, and the room becomes the canvas. Just naming the channel creates distance, because when you name it, you stop being inside it. You become the observer, even slightly, and slightly is enough. Step 2. Break the loop, because the loop is what turns unease into a spiral. The loop is body alarm, then threat search, then meaning, then bigger body alarm. So we break it at the easiest point. Exhale. Not deep breathing, not forcing. Forcing is still fighting. Do this instead. In, 2, out, 4. In, 2, out, 4. Long exhale tells the nervous system, we are not running. Now add 2 micro releases. Shoulders, 1 millimeter down. Jaw, 1 millimeter unclenched. Why those? Because shoulders and jaw are emergency muscles. When they release, the brain updates the prediction. Maybe this isn't immediate danger. And once the body input softens, your perception softens. Not because you convinced yourself, because you changed the signal feeding the story. Now step 3. Reclaim prediction. This is the part that ends the haunted feeling fast, because haunted is basically, I can't predict what happens next. So you give your brain controlled certainty, not reassurance, structure. Do one slow scan, not a threat scan, a map scan. Find 3 stable facts. Where is the exit? Where is the light source? Where is the most open space? That alone builds a usable map, and a usable map lowers alarm. Then create one tiny action plan. If I needed to leave, I could leave. If I needed to sit, I could sit. If I needed to call someone, I could call. Agency is the antidote, because the haunted feeling is the feeling of lost agency. Now here's the premium upgrade. Name the predicted outcome. Because your brain is not sensing ghosts, it's predicting outcomes. So ask, what does my brain think this place predicts? Trap, approach, judgment, loss of control. When you name it, it becomes finite. Vague fear is infinite. Named prediction is manageable. Now one last tool, the honesty line. Because in wrong places, feelings become facts, so we separate them. Say quietly, I know I'm safe right now. I feel uneasy. That sentence prevents the story from hijacking reality. Now the question everyone has, what if sometimes the feeling is accurate? What if sometimes the place is actually dangerous? Yes, sometimes it is. So we don't teach denial, we teach calibration. Here's the calibration rule. Accurate danger usually comes with convergence. More than one channel agrees. Space feels wrong, and social feels off, and body feels sharp. If only one channel is screaming, and the others are calm, it's more likely a false alarm, a threshold issue, a memory pattern, an internal weather shift. So you don't have to choose between paranoia and ignoring instinct. You choose a third thing, reading your system. Now let's close this calmly. The reason haunted places feel powerful is because they reveal a hidden truth. Your brain is not a window, it's a predictor, a storyteller. And your body is not a passenger, it's part of the storyteller. So the next time a place feels wrong, you can do something rare. You can stay curious, even while you're uncomfortable. Channel, space, social, body. Loop, exhale longer, shoulders, jaw. Prediction, exit, light, open space, plan. Then one of two things happens. Either the room stops screaming, or you calmly leave. Without panic, without superstition, with clarity. Because the goal was never to prove anything. The goal was to take yourself back.